Welcome to the Ignition News, your unfiltered, uncensored source for the actual truth in what is happening in the United States of America and around the world. We are not bought by the billionaires. We are here to be your source of truth in a time where truth matters more than it ever has. Be sure to follow along with your favorite platform on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or Substack. Let's get busy with the truth. Welcome to the Ignition News. Let's ignite. In the United States of America and around the world. We are not bought by the billionaires. We are here to be your source of truth in a time where truth matters more than it ever has. Be sure to follow along with your favorite platform on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or Substack. Let's get busy with the truth. Welcome to the Ignition News.
There we go. We had a false start, but we got fired up. We're now live on all of our platforms. Good morning, everybody. What a rocky start to our morning. We had some technical problems. This is why we need to get that dang studio set up so I can just leave everything where it belongs and click go and then be good to go. It is, in fact, February 3rd. Welcome to this latest edition of the Ignition News. Quick reminder to please follow along the show on your favorite platform, whether that is Facebook now, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Substack, hey Substack, and of course the OGs on TikTok. The fam, the group, the crew. It is February 3rd, and I want to talk about a few things, but I want to talk first about January one more time. So let me get into some commentary about January. January was the most dangerous month for democracy in your adult lifetime. There's actually been no other month close to it. I got to stop being nice about my wording. We saw an unparalleled advance of authoritarian power. The federal government literally stormed Minneapolis with 3,000 federal agents, ICE agents, CBP, DHS, and they went and they tried to go after a sovereign state. They were successful in essentially dethroning Tim Walz as governor in terms of his campaign, and he's essentially decided no longer to run for office. And it is significant to point that out because Tim Walz essentially was the number 2 Democratic Party figure less than 2 years ago, right? As the Democratic vice presidential nominee, the presidential ticket is considered the head of the party for both the Republicans, the Independents, and for the Democrats. And for all intents and purposes, Tim Walz was the number 2 Democrat in the entire country. And a successful propaganda operation dethroned him, credited him, smeared his reputation, threatened his friends and family in terms of their safety, which is disgusting. And of course, we strongly oppose that type of action. Spread misinformation and lies and created the propaganda that allowed the federal government to send 3,000 people to Minneapolis, stormtroopers to Minneapolis, American Gestapo to Minneapolis. And it was because of that video by 23-year-old, what's his name, Nick Shirley, that this all happened. That is, people forget that, but that is why it happened. And what I will tell you first is Nick Shirley is now in California. And it is no accident that he is in California. He is going to California to make more lies, make more propaganda, and create another dangerous environment. So what we saw in Minneapolis, I think we will see a reignition, if you will, in California when Shirley or someone like Shirley makes another propaganda video spreading lies, disinformation, and misinformation. And what's sad about it is this is a young man who's doing this really just for shits and giggles to become an internet figure. It's really an American tragedy. It's part of the tragedy of technology advancing and destroying our democracy, creating billionaires and oligarchs, and allowing people like Nick Shirley to be used. And let's be very clear, this young man is being used by this administration in order to advance their authoritarian agenda. It's a disgrace. He's in California now. Enough damage was done in Minneapolis that one might wonder if democracy had in fact slipped away. I asked that question many times. Has in fact democracy slipped away from us? When the federal government can murder 2 people, can assassinate 2 people, basically on live streaming webcam and get away with it, and then go out and discredit them, calling them domestic terrorists. Well, it's hard to argue that democracy does still exist in the United States of America until you consider the feet on the streets, the people, you, me, the thousands of people in Minneapolis, the millions of people across the country who took to the streets, including thousands of young children who walked out of their school classrooms, seemingly with no resistance from their teachers. It seems that their teachers understand this moment as well. Our politicians have failed us. They have failed us. But our youngest Americans, be they immigrants or natural-born citizens, students of this country, are learning this real history now, live. and they are choosing to get out of their seats and go to the streets in protest of this cruelty, and they are choosing to craft their own version of America. And I have to say that I'm very proud of them, and I hope you're proud of them as well. And you too have taken to the streets. You have shown resistance. The thing about this administration is it only has one toolkit: a little bit of violence and a lot of violent rhetoric. When it uses that and someone pushes back, they have no other toolkit. And Minneapolis proved that. We are advancing with organized labor. We are advancing with young progressive politics. We are advancing the cause of freedom and liberty in the United States of America. But let me be very clear. This is an appropriate time to be afraid. This is an appropriate time to be afraid of your federal government. Fear is a tool, and fear is good. Like self-doubt, fear is an indicator. Fear tells us what we have to do. Remember our rule of thumb: the more scared we are of a work or calling, the more sure we can be that we have to do it. Resistance is experienced as fear. The degree of fear equates to the strength of the resistance. Therefore, the more we feel about a specific enterprise, the more certain we can be that the enterprise is important to us and the growth of our soul. That's why we feel so much resistance. If it meant nothing to us, there'd be no resistance. That is actually a quote from Steven Pressfield. It's from from The War of Art. And it is very pressing. It is very inspirational. Fear is good. Interesting, right? Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Ignition News. It's February 3rd. Let's get into the news. Before I begin, I'm going to ask quickly to pause, if you wouldn't mind. I need you to go find me on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, or on Substack, and please do subscribe. It's important. This work is essential to preserving and protecting democracy. So I'm going to pause a little bit, and then I'm going to prove myself right. If you're not sure how to find us, go to theignition.news or search The Ignition News. Go ahead and click that subscribe. It means a lot to me. Thank you. Please do comment, rate the show as well. It's important for us to be able to spread and grow what we are doing. Let's lighten the mood, shall we? Shall we lighten the mood? Today is February 3rd, 2026. On this day in 1870, the 15th Amendment passed, prohibiting, this was Black History Month, granting African-American men the right to vote by prohibiting the denial of suffrage based on race, color, or previous condition of servitude. 1913, the 16th Amendment was ratified on this day, giving Congress the power to levy a federal income tax. Boo! Boo! In 1966, the Luna 9 landed on the moon. In 1970, optic fiber, the first patent for a method of producing optical fiber, was issued to Corning Glassworks, and the first dental drill was invented by John Greenwood. These are actually terrible. These are terrible things. My God, not all of them, of course, but optic fiber led us to the internet. This terrible thing we have. The Luna 9, propaganda, Soviet Union, all this stuff. I get it. 15th Amendment, that was good. 16th Amendment, boo. Boo. No. Ooh, the day the music died. This is one of the most popular somber anniversaries in music history today. Rock and roll pioneers Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, and then the Big Bopper were killed in a plane crash near Clear Lake, Iowa. And the Beatles arrived in 1964, although their first performance was a few days later. Beatlemania was officially in full swing as the band's first U.S. album sat at the top of the charts. Good morning. Welcome to February 3rd, 2026. Let's get into the top stories. Thank you for following the show on your favorite platform. We do have quite a few stories to discuss today. The first is that the president of the United States wants to nationalize the elections. Now, I have been saying this for some time. I'm going to ratchet up my rhetoric on this quite a bit now. It's quite clear that the president intends to do something with the midterm elections. And this is something that should alarm you. Yesterday, Trump went on Dan Bongino's podcast. He still has a podcast? I didn't know that. And he said Republicans should, quote, nationalize voting and take over elections in at least 15 states. Now, that is very telling. Now, this is coming after the FBI raided Fulton County. They took something like 700 boxes of ballots from 2020. And here's obviously the constitutional problem. Article 1 of the Constitution explicitly states that elections for senators and representatives shall be prescribed by each state and the legislature thereof. This is an outrageous claim by a senile, cognitively declining president. But it's getting some pushback. John Thune said, I'm a big believer in decentralized and distributed power. It's harder to hack 50 election systems than it is one. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, Chuckles, as Jennifer Welch would say, said, it has nothing to do with protecting our elections and everything to do with federalizing voter suppression. This is literally what happens in every authoritarian playbook. Centralizing elections and policing those elections with an unaccountable police force. Who is the unaccountable police force? Chat. Who's the unaccountable police force? It's ICE, the American Gestapo. Let's move on. How does this show up and how does this advance? Well, it's by taking away the First Amendment. So let's talk about story number 2. You now know, of course, what happened to Don Lemon, the American independent journalist who was arrested. Former CNN anchor Don Lemon was arrested, and he has some new details about his arrest. On January 18th, of course, he was arrested during an he was at an anti-ICE protest at a Minneapolis church where Pastor David Easterwood, who is an ICE district director, was. Lemon went on camera to report live during that event. And then on January 29th, about a dozen federal agents ambushed him in a hotel elevator in Los Angeles where he was covering the Grammys. They jostled him, they grabbed him, they put him in handcuffs. The thing about this is they didn't have to do this. He actually offered to turn himself in. He managed to use his Apple Watch to call his husband, who didn't answer. The only way his husband found out what had happened was when an FBI agent agreed to return Lemon's diamond bracelet to him upstairs at the hotel. So 2 judges and an appeals court denied pressing charges against Lemon. And now they sent 12 federal agents to rough him up in a fucking elevator to scare him. And I want to be very clear about this. I've seen a lot of journalists backing down from what Don Lemon did at that church. I am not going to be one of those people. I do not believe that reporting live from that church was a violation of the First Amendment, and I don't think it was a criminal action under the FACE Act. The FACE Act was designed to protect places of worship, abortion clinics, that sort of thing, and to prohibit access to those facilities. Nothing Don Lemon did prohibited access. Now, the government's going to claim that he's chilling their expression, blah, 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 blah. Let me just be very clear. When your church pastor is a fucking ICE director and protesters come into your church to call out your brazen hypocrisy, you sick fucks, the only Christians in that church were the protesters who showed up to call you out on your brazen hypocrisy. You immoral hypocrites. You hypocrites using Jesus Christ as your shield. It is disgusting. It's outrageous. You disgusting hypocrites with an ICE director as your pastor. But to claim somehow that Don Lemon was violating the FACE Act, do you know that journalists all around this world, think about what journalists are doing in Gaza. Journalists, by design, have to go to the most dangerous places. They have to reveal the truth. They have to show us what's happening. And we can no longer trust the American corporate media system in CBS, led by Bari Weiss, punting stories about detention centers, people making absurd headlines. The corporate news environment. I mean, let me just go to CNN's webpage right now. Let me tell you about some of the headlines. Here's some headlines. Just garbage. Okay. Let's see. Households key vote on funding package to end shutdown. Which president has had the most shutdown days during his term? Why Trump wants the GOP to nationalize voting. When Trump makes elections threats, it's best to believe him. This is sanitized corporate media, full stop. The media should be reporting. Deranged, cognitively declining, corrupted president tries to corrupt national elections. Democrats fail to stop him. GOP fails to stop him. These are the kinds of headlines that we should be seeing in a free America. But they're afraid, or they want to make their buck, and it's disgusting. But back to Don Lemon. Reporters, by definition, the First Amendment, by definition, is designed to protect reporters in exactly those kinds of conditions, in exactly that kind of condition. And yes, there are always lines, and yes, people have the right to worship how they choose to worship. But we as a country have to start confronting the evils in our own borders. We love to talk about borders. We love to talk about evil people coming across the country. We need to confront the evil that exists within this country and the people who call themselves Christians and then commit some of the most heinous acts of cruelty, unimaginable acts of cruelty. Then it's time for the rest of us to start speaking up about it. But the thing is, if no one is willing to record us, document, and preserve and protect and distribute those stories, then a million of us could speak up against these hypocritical fake Christians and their agenda of hate and misogyny and bigotry, and no one would ever see it. But you see, this is the point, is it not? This is the point, is it not? To slow us down, to quiet us, to silence us, and to pretend as though we do not exist. Millions of people took to the street to protest what happened to Alex and Renee, what happened to Keith. Millions of people, hundreds of thousands of students walked out of their classrooms. That should be breaking news on every nightly news in every place in the country. Breaking. schools interrupted today with mass student walkouts. And say what you will about the civil rights movement, say what you will about that time. But when cops were taking fire hoses to Black Americans in the 60s and spraying them or beating them on bridges, it was in the news. It was reported. And because it was reported, and because America was required to confront its abject cruelty, but most importantly, like these Christians, its hypocrisy, it was forced to confront it. And now we have the Civil Rights Act, or at least what remains of the Civil Rights Act. And it is disgusting. It is disgusting to me. I'm going to name a few organizations. The Bulwark, I saw. The Bulwark doing this. Kara Swisher, that's another journalist. CNN, I saw a panel on CNN. All these people backing away from Lemon. Well, I wouldn't have done that. Oh, I wouldn't have reported from inside the church. Okay, well, we know you wouldn't report from inside of Gaza. We already know that. We know you won't report on the streets. We know you won't go and protect and preserve the rights and dignities of American citizens exercising their First Amendment rights who are getting shot in the literal back. And the reason that we saw that video from that woman in the pink coat was because no American credentialed journalist had the balls to be there. Excuse my language, but that's the truth. If we yield to this brazen assault on the First Amendment, we will fall as a country, period. We will fall as a country. When you start locking up journalists, then you lock up bigger and bigger pools of people. They are already arresting activists. One of my good friends in Minneapolis is turning herself in today to federal authorities, an activist. They are coming for journalists. They are coming for activists, and they will come for you. This is a moment to draw a line in the sand. We will not be silenced. Our journalists will not be silenced. Our activists will not be silenced. We will show up. We will be louder. Every effort that you make to silence us will only be met with louder and louder opposition. I know everyone says, this is the thing, this is the thing, this is the thing. When they arrest journalists, other journalists stop talking. Other people stop recording. Your boss fires you because they don't want you at work because you're a Democrat. Do you not see how this works? We're standing on the edge right now, today. They are trying to push us off the edge. Your job is to hang on. Now, that was a tangent. Everyone, please do take a moment. I do want to just let you know, I appreciate you very much. I want to say thank you to my moderators over on TikTok. We are live on TikTok, Substack, YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. Telling the truth in America comes at enormous cost. But telling the truth is having an impact. I'm going to cut it short today because we had a lot of talking. But by telling the truth to the American people, this is what the result of. Multiple new polls, by the way, show that the president's approval rating has in free fall. Pew Research just had a poll that's 8,500 people from January 20th to 26th. His approval rating has fallen to 37%. That is down from 40% this fall and down from 50%. More than 50% of Americans say that this administration's actions have been worse than they expected. The erosion is happening from inside of the Republican Party. Trump's immigration approval has fallen from 49% in December to 46% in January, and it's a massive slide from the mid-50s in early 2025. His economic approval is in free fall. 45 to 42%, and now something around his inflation approval, 39%. It has flipped from 55% approval to 55% disapproval on immigration in less than a year. Only 34% approve of his handling of who are these 30%, by the way? And 30% approve of his handling of the cost of living. These are just brainwashed people. These are not intelligent people. These are not people that, I honestly don't know how these people have a job. Like, how do these people have gainful employment if you have approval of this handling of the economy? How do you have a job? How do you pay your bills? How do you drive? How did you pass a driver's test? I don't understand. You vote? You participate in, you don't participate inside. Do you know how to write a check? Do you know how to balance your checkbook? Do you know even basic math? How can you approve of this economy right now? Unbelievable. The point is, when we tell the truth, when we expose the truth, people say, oh shit, yeah, I guess egg prices went down a little bit, but I'm paying through the nose for electricity now. I'm paying through the nose for my rent. I'm paying through the nose for insurance. Good. Eggs are down to $2 now. Awesome. Cool. My insurance went up $500. Thanks for the cheap eggs, I guess. Oh, how'd you get the cheap eggs? You imported them. Cool. Are you fucking kidding me? No, cool. My groceries have not continued to exponentially increase. Everything else has. Every single item I buy. Go through your grocery receipts or your Amazon. Look at the same item you purchased a year ago. Just 1 year ago. See how much more expensive it is. These frauds, these hypocrites. And that's where we close it out today. It's the theme. Ooh, microphone. The theme today is simple. The cost of silence versus hypocrisy. Whether that is our politicians, whether that's Chuck Schumer, who says his most important job is securing aid to Israel. He actually said that. He said, one of my most important jobs is securing unlimited aid to Israel. Wouldn't it be nice if you had a congressman whose job was to secure unlimited aid for you to help your child get affordable education? Would it be nice if you had a senator who gave a shit about your health care instead of pumping billions of dollars to a genocidal government? That would be nice. Or whether it's the hypocrisy of these Christians. Go watch Don Lemon's video, please. That's my one assignment for you today. Go watch Don Lemon's video from inside the church and look at the cowardly, hypocritical face of that weak, spineless man claiming to be a man of God. Maybe it's the autism, I don't know, but I have this refined bullshit detector. I think most of you do as well. You cannot claim to be a man of God representing and speaking the loving words of Jesus Christ and then be a field commander for ICE, which is killing people, deporting people, tearing babies away from their families. I mean, you can do that in America, just to be clear. But the hypocrisy is nauseating. And I see you, and we see you. Or whether that is the hypocrisy, last of all, of our cognitively declining, failing president who sees his failures. Of this, I will tell you, he has a refined political gut. He does. There's actually never been someone in my lifetime who understands how to take the input of the noise from the American people and spit it out precisely to the right amount of people to get what he wants. But now he realizes, even he realizes, he does not have the horsepower, the bandwidth, or the capacity to improve the economy, to make the country safer, to stop this rampant raiding of the treasury. And because he knows this, because he has this refined, rather amazing political antenna, he knows that this election is going to be an absolute tsunami and a rejection. They flipped a Texas seat, 17 plus points for the president. They flipped it to a Democrat. If we have a chance to resist, it is over for this fascism. If we are given a chance to resist, it is over for this authoritarianism, this cronyism. And they know that. And so they're going to try to take it from you. And so I come back to where I started. Remember our rule of thumb. The more scared we are of a work or calling, the more sure we can be that we have to do it. Fear is good. Yes, I'm afraid that the 47th president of the United States of America is going to try to steal the midterm elections. That fear guides me to do everything within my power, everything within my bones, my flesh, my body, and my brain, to stand up for my neighbors, my community, and to make sure that every man and woman, everyone legally able to go cast their vote against this fascism, this authoritarianism, is protected in their God-given right to do so. And I will not fail, and you will not fail. Every time they try to push back. That's been the Ignition News, everybody. Thank you for a great show. This is February 3rd, 2026. This has been the Ignition News. Please follow us on your favorite podcast platform. Stay strong, embrace the fear, and push back. This has been today's episode of The Ignition News. Please consider following us on all of your favorite podcast platforms, whether that's Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, or Substack. We're here to deliver to you unfiltered, uncensored news. Let's get busy with the truth on The Ignition News.